What's up everyone, my name is Gary Blackwood, also known as GazzyB123. Welcome to the first edition of the GazzyB Poker Vlog. A very quick introduction about me. I'm a professional poker player. I've been playing the game full time for 8 years now. I play mainly online. I play up to 5-10, and when I'm in America in the casinos, I play up to 10-20 no limit. Quick shout out to the Empire Casino in London for allowing me to vlog. I'm going to be in the UK for the next 4 weeks. I'll be playing 1-2, 1-3 and 2-5, maybe some 5-10 if it runs. And then I'll be off to America where we'll be playing higher stakes up to 10-20 and we'll be vlogging all the way. I intend for my vlog to have lots of poker content, be very hand history heavy. So without further ado, let's get straight into the action. So I get a seat quite quickly, I sit down, I pull out my camera and start filming. I'm a little nervous because I don't want to annoy anyone by the fact that I'm filming, but everyone's super friendly about it. The guy to my left, the guy to my right, they're chatting away. It settles me down right away.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I mean, it doesn't... You can, let's see how quality when you start the camera.
Okay. Because I have to sit here. If I sit there, I have a big problem.
It's really great that everyone's so friendly about it. I fold the Queen 5 offsuit and we're on our way. Several hands later, we're in the straddle. We pick up Ace 4 offsuit. I am not overly involved in this hand, but it is a lot of fun. A really interesting turn play from one of my opponents. So I definitely wanted to include this in the vlog just to give off the indication of what the games can be like in the centre of London. So the button opens, small blind calls, we call as well with our ace of spades. 4 of clubs, we go 3 ways to a Queen 5 deuce with 2 spades flop. Small blind checks, I check, and the button elects to c-bet for 1/3 pot. The small blind thinks for a few seconds and makes the call. This is where things get a little bit interesting. I would normally raise a hand like this at some frequency. We've got a nice backdoor flush draw, we've got a gut shot, we've got an overcard. One thing that's really important as well is that we want enough naked ace of spade combos in our range so that if the turn or the river bring in that flush, we can rep it and we're not just value heavy with our range. I look at the small blind stack size and I think he's only got about £100 after he makes the call, so raising is a whole lot less appealable now. We don't want to raise and have him back raise and get it in with ace high for £100. Unfortunately for me, I have miscalculated the size of his stack. He's actually sitting on about £400, as is the button, as am I, so it would have been completely fine to raise. Unfortunately, I've miscounted and I go ahead and just call. As you've probably just seen, the small blind takes this opportunity to go ahead and lead the turn all in for £400. There's £109 in the pot, so it's a bit of an overbet, as you might say. We get out the way quickly and the button goes deep into the tank. He talks to the small blind, tries to get a read. The small blind is made of stone, gives up nothing, and the button eventually folds Queen Jack face up, although he seems very offended about it in the process. Unfortunately, we'll never know what the small blind had, but it's a hell of a play.
Okay.
Next up is just one of those really stupid, avoidable spots that I find myself in all the time when I'm playing live poker. So we're playing 1-2, the straddle is on to 5, under the gun is limped. I have completed in the big blind with 9-7 offsuit, and the straddle decides to pop it on up to 15. Under the gun calls, I shrug my shoulders, I flick in the extra £10, and we see a flop. I check, the straddle checks, the early position player checks as well. We get to see a free turn. We turn a pair, the straddle takes this opportunity to lead out for £10. The early position player calls and I bleed an extra £10 into the pot by making the call. The river is the Queen of Spades. We check on over to the straddle. He throws out a small block bet of £15. Even though EP folds, we decide we've burned enough money in this hand, we just let our hand go. The straddler very kindly flashes an ace as he throws his hand into the muck. A little while later, we look down at pocket deuces in early position. It's not the best hand to be opening here, but the table's loose, the table's passive, everyone's having a good time and chatting. I decide to open to £8, only the cutoff calls, and we go heads up to a flop. It's not the greatest board in the world for our hand or for our range. I decide to check. My opponent thankfully checks back. We get to see the 3 on the turn, and I feel like my opponent would stab a lot of his one pair hands on the flop, so I throw out a bet of £15. My opponent quickly calls. The river is the 3 of diamonds. I can't see any value whatsoever here, so I check on over to my opponent, and he throws out a bet of £26. This is a little confusing. I can't think of any hands in his range that would check the flop, call a turn bet, and now value bet the river. I think he stabs a lot of his one pair hands on the flop, so I think he's going to have an air ball, a missed flush draw, something like ace 6, king 6, I think for a few seconds, and I decide to make the call.
Go. Don't know about that.
The action so far on the table has been pretty good. It's been a loose table, it's been a passive table, there have been some relatively big pots. A lot of my pots have been quite small, and I feel like the poker gods have rewarded me for what's about to come. I've played solid, I've played tight, I've played disciplined, and we're now about to pop the fuck off and win every pot for the next 30 to 45 minutes. Starting with this ace king with a king of diamonds, we open in early position, we get 2 calls by the cutoff and the button, the flop is ace high, all diamonds, super disconnected, we flop top pair, top kicker and the nut flush draw. I decide to bet £18 into a pot of £27. I don't want to bet small here, I don't want to check. If my opponents are drawing to worse flushes, we want to make them pay, and if we are behind, we can catch up very quickly. I like my sizing in this specific spot. Cutoff folds, button calls, and the dealer burns and turns a glorious 9 of diamonds turn. We've turned the absolute nuts. Nothing can beat us at this moment in the hand, and I see no reason not to continue betting. A lot of us watching this might start to get a little trappy here and start to check and try and induce bluffs, but think about it like this. If my opponent's got the naked queen of diamonds, the jack of diamonds, the 8 of diamonds, even a hand like pocket 4s with a diamond, it's really not great if we allow our opponent to check back when we can get a lot of value on this street. I bet 2/3. I don't want to bet too big or too small. I feel like this size is just right, and my opponent elects to call. As the dealer is about to deal the river, the voice in my head is saying, please don't pair the board, please don't pair the board, and the dealer obliges. We got a glorious jack of clubs, we still hold the stone cold nuts. I see no reason not to continue betting here. This time I go for a little more value and bet 80% pot, £120. My opponent is deep in the tank, he doesn't love it, but eventually... he finally makes the call, we show him the bad news, and we pull in a pot worth almost £400. It is as easy as that sometimes. The next hand's a relatively interesting one. My opponent, who's completely unknown, new player to the table, he opens to £10 in MP. The action falls round to me in the big blind. I look down at ace king again, this time with the ace of clubs, which is our relevant card, and we 3-bet to £45. He thinks for a few seconds, he makes the call, and we're off to the flop. We don't make a pair on the flop, but we've got a gut shot to a super straight, and we also have the backdoor nut flush draw. I don't want to bet this hand and get raised off my equity, so I elect to check. My opponent quickly fires out a bet of £65 for around about 2/3 pot. I don't love it, but there's nothing else we can do here. We're calling and off to the turn. After the turn goes check check, the river is a pretty interesting one. It's an offsuit king. We make top pair top kicker, however there are a lot of hands out there that beat us. There are a lot of 2-pair combos and a lot of straights that my opponent can have. We check, and it's a sign of how well we're running that he's able to check back one of the hands that we can beat. He's got ace queen offsuit, and we scoop in another medium sized pot. This coming hand has to be one of the strangest hands of poker I've ever played. Instead of talking over the top of this, what I'm going to do is let the footage play, I'm going to add subtitles, and you guys can just enjoy the carnage. The action is started under the gun, he is limped, under the gun +1 has overlimped, the cutoff is made at 15, and the action is now on me in the small blind with ace king of diamonds.
What is it?
15.
60.
My gosh, we're in a rush, mate.
Rush, bro.
No way it's king this time. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
What's coming now? Oh, lead.
Oh, now I want to see it, mate.
How much is it? A lot.
I'll say 450.
420.
425.
26.
Oh, 426.
Oh, that makes a difference.
Oh, man.
Good luck.
Once or twice, sir.
Yeah, open those cards.
Do you want to go ties? Do you want to show them? Do you want to flip them over?
I'm way behind.
Why is it?
He's embarrassed.
Can never be too far behind.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you lied. Oh, sweat.
Sweat. Sweat.
Oh my days. You serious?
Nice hand.
I probably would have taken my money back before the dealer dealt the two boards. However, when we win the first one so comfortably and we flop so well on the second one, it's a little disappointing not to scoop. However, not to worry, more big pots right round the corner. Action for this hand starts in the hijack. He opens to £7. I'm in the cutoff with King 10 of spades and decide to call. The small blind, who's just gone all in with the pocket fives, he calls as well, and the big blind, who bluffed earlier when I had pocket deuces, makes a small raise to £35. The hijack calls, I call, and the small blind calls as well. The big blind takes a few seconds and open shoves for £197. The hijack gets out the way. I'm not loving this spot, particularly when the small blind is behind and he could have a hand like pocket deuces or 9-8, or a hand like, you know, ace 5 of spades that's just not going to fold. However, I only have one option here, and that's to just re-shove and go all in and pray the small blind gets out the way and hope for the best.
Dealer.
Yeah, 197.
Oh, 197. Okay. I'm all in.
The big blind goes deep into the tank. He thinks for a full 90 seconds before eventually giving up his cards, and we get exactly what we were hoping for.
Already falling on stick.
Once or twice, sir. 2 times. You'll be happy to know I have king high. Why do you guys always think you're behind?
Because they know you're gonna finish first.
King Queen of
King high as well.
Oh, okay.
King Queen. Oh,
How high is your king high?
are you serious? What a joke. Wait, he jams and he
Go on.
calls. You have to fold.
I think it's gonna be a chop.
Chop it. No.
Once again, before the final boards are run out, I probably would have taken my money back. However, I am a little disappointed not to scoop the whole thing after winning the first one. On to the last hand of the night, and it's an absolute beauty. The action starts in the hijack. He opens to 7. I look down at the one and only pocket aces in the cutoff and bump it up to 25. The button decides to cold call, and the small blind, music to my ears, he makes it 65 to go.
160.
Raise 160.
The hijack releases his cards and the action's back on me. I look at my opponent's remaining stack sizes and I decide that £160 is the best option. Everyone's got around about 450 left. I don't want to go too big and chase away hands like pocket 9s, pocket 10s, king queen suited, ace queen type hands, and on the flip side I don't want to go too small and not get enough value for the strength of my hand. I think 160 is the best price.
But you need the right hand, not the right hand.
We need both.
You need the right hand like this.
I'm going to leave, just say you're going to leave in half hour. Why would you want to play it, right?
The button very surprisingly decides to put in the £160, and immediately after he does that, music to my ears, the small blind decides to go all in. Absolute dream spot. I'm not one of these guys to try and tank and make the button call off. I've got aces, I just want to get the money in. I immediately reshove, and music to my ears even more when the button makes a bit of a fuck it call. He's already put £160 in there, he may as well call off his last couple of hundred, and we get it in all in 3 ways with pocket aces.
Once or twice, boys. I'm happy to go twice if you want to.
Twice is good.
Up to you guys.
I think he has a jack and a king. Maybe he has a king and a half twice.
As you may have noticed, I am very much a run it twice kind of guy. We'll talk about why that is in future episodes, however now is not the right time. I immediately turn my cards over, I ask the guys do they want to go once or twice. Both players agree to go twice and we're off to the dealer.
What the hell?
Come on,
Lucky I didn't get in. I was about to flat.
Spade.
I'll check it. I'll check for the guy with the
Do you have that?
He doesn't.
How much cards almost does have a hand?
Aces.
Just before the dealer dealt the 2 boards, the small blind turned over his hand, he had pocket queens for a very nasty cooler. The button elected to keep his cards a secret, however fortunately for me, whenever the dealer was finished, he tapped the table and he mucked his cards. We scoop a monumental £1,400 pot.
Let us know when you start heating up.
See you. Thank you very much.
This is
Not long after that hand happened, I decided that I was done for the night. I decided to cash out my chips. I won £993 and I was super happy with the results from my first vlog session. That brings us to the end of our very first episode. I had so much fun making this. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. This is going to be the first of many. The second episode will be coming out very soon, so go ahead and click that like and subscribe button so you see it when it comes out. Until next time, take it easy, guys.